Welcome to Haunted Hospitality, 7 stories told by spooky gingers. I'm Robin.
And I'm Zoey.
And I have a story for you today. But first, we want to get into some fun stuff that came into our Instagram inbox.
Yes. So we're gonna skip the house life and we're gonna talk about your guys' life.
Yeah, or actually a place we cover. So a listener named Caitlin, she said that hey Caitlin, thank you very much. She said that she read the piece that a person who lived in Poplar Hill, which we covered in episode 7, wrote. It was called We Salted Nanny. It's in the Bitter Southerner. Anyway, so she did some research into the Poplar Hill, the history of it, the hauntings and stuff, and then found our podcast, listened to it, and then she lives near there, so she went by, and of course you cannot go on the property because it is private property, but she looked at it from a distance and just sent us a message and was like, this place is so creepy.
Did she also mention that it's for sale?
It is also for sale.
Robin?
It is also for sale.
Robin?
It is $865,000 or thereabouts, and Zoe, it looked like you were wanting to buy it, and
so Kickstarter, guys.
Oh, shit.
Buy us Poplar Hill, please.
Poplar Hill. Have fun with that, Zoe. I think I'll let you.
No, you're living with me.
I think I'll give you the
you're
deed.
Coming.
I'll give you the deed. I don't actually want to
You're
live
coming.
there. I would love to be near there. So she sent us photos too, and I'm assuming you saw these photos, Zoe.
I glanced at them. I didn't want to mark it as red.
Oh, okay, cool. They're so creepy because she says that there's actually like a lot of property around it, a lot of woods, and it's just because of course she stayed off the property to get the photos, but it's just so interesting. And then that same night, actually, I got a message on our Instagram from another podcast friend of ours who sent us a photo that their mom took of them when they were like on a haunted tour, and it looked like something was like yanking them up, like as in almost stretching their body or something. It looked so creepy. And then I was just thinking to myself, are we the people who people send these creepy images to? And you know what? I would kind of love to be that person.
Yes.
So this is just me putting it out there. Send us, if you go to a place, obviously if you go to a place that we covered, just like let us know, even if nothing happened, even if you didn't get I don't know, just let us know. And then also, if you go to a place or something happens and there's like a creepy photo from it, send it to us. We will love it. And if you don't want us to put it on our Instagram story, we will not do that if you don't want us to. I might ask if we can, and you can totally be like, no, because the thing is, this is just, it can totally be between us and you, because we just love
it.
Okay?
Yes.
Love it. Thank you so much, guys.
And obviously, if we put it on our Instagram photo or Instagram story with your permission, we will obviously credit you.
100%.
Yes.
We are legit here, okay?
We are. Robin is so excited about this. She's talking a mile a minute.
So have fun trying to decipher what I actually said, guys. But yeah, anyway, thank you, Caitlin, and thank you, podcast friend, for sending us this. It made my night.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
And also, Poplar Hill is creepy AF.
So, Robin, before we go into our something spooky, we got another Patreon.
Yes, a patron.
Patreon
We are
patron.
on Patreon. We got a patron. Thank you, Karina.
Yes, thank you.
Karina's our friend, guys.
All right. So, are you ready for the something spooky?
No, I'm so sorry. I'm just terrified. I'm curling up in a corner. I'm not ready for it.
Well, too bad. Welcome back to Zoey's Kreature Korner.
Hey!
So last time we did cover the Kappa, one of those two.
K-A-P-A, I believe.
K-A-P-P-A.
Oh,
Yes.
I misspelled it in the only way I could.
I wasn't sure if you were misspelling it or if you were just stuttering.
No?
Anyway, so, Robin, I'd like to tell you about the Burrunjor.
I'm sorry, what?
The Burrunjor.
The burn drawer?
The Burrunjor.
Can you please spell this out for me?
Yes. B-U-R-R-U-J-O-R. The Burrunjor.
Okay.
It's Australian.
Fine.
So imagine it in an Australian accent.
Burrunjor.
Sure.
I don't know how to do that. Sorry.
So, it is a reptilian cryptid that looks like a raptor.
So right up your alley.
Right up my alley. And all the descriptions I could find of this, it's just a raptor. It's a dinosaur that's still around in Australia. I don't know why. I guess they did some Jurassic Park stuff over there. But
You heard it here first, guys. There's dinosaurs in Australia.
well, I do believe there may be also a T-Rex, but I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
So, the Burrunjor was a Aboriginal story originally. They mostly mentioned about it being a bipedal large lizard about 20 to 25 feet
Ooh,
long.
That's very long.
Yes, with tiny little clawed hands. So, a raptor. Sometimes it is described with feathers, just letting you know. But this was in like the 1950s when it was described with feathers. So this was before we had the scientific discovery that dinosaurs probably had feathers, I believe. I don't know when that came out. I think it was relatively recently.
Could be. I don't know.
But originally it was an Aboriginal story, and they talked about how just don't mess with them, essentially. But then in the 1950s, it became a more commonplace story in Australia because there were a bunch of cattle that were being eaten, and there was a bunch of bipedal tracks nearby that they couldn't say, this is this animal. And it did look like the cattle were eaten by a lizard. They originally did believe it was a monitor lizard, which is a really big lizard, kind of like a Komodo dragon. But they were like, well, the tracks are bipedal, not four, you know?
Do-do-do.
I don't know what quadpedal, I guess.
I don't know.
Anyway.
You're looking at me like I know these things. I know nothing.
So that's when the name Burrunjor became well known. Then in 1985, a family was traveling to Roper River, which is somewhere in Australia.
Thank you for that, like, really minute detail of location. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I feel like I know exactly where this is.
They saw, honestly, isn't all of Australia just the same hellscape?
Oh my god, we're gonna get some hate from Australia.
No, I think they know.
You think they know? They're like,
they know.
Yeah, she's right.
Spiders, snakes.
We have those here.
Hot thing. We don't have spiders as big as a car.
That doesn't exist.
I think they have a spider as big as at least a motorcycle.
That's not this. Okay.
Australia is a scary place.
I need to do some Australia research.
But, so this family was going to Roper River when they saw a 20-foot long monster covered in feathers that was shaped like a raptor. And when they were shown illustrated images of the Burrunjor, they said, yes, it looked like that.
I'm just imagining that family trip. How do you see that? How do you go back to normal?
Well, even better. There was this man named Brian Clark, and he went into some woods one day in 1978, and he got lost. He didn't come back to his campsite, so a policeman was called, and he came in, and two Aboriginal locals also went into the woods. So was the policeman and the two locals. They went in together to track him down. They did have to camp several nights in the woods. One night, they heard the ground shaking. No, they felt the ground shaking.
I guess you could hear it too.
And they heard a thundering sound.
Ooh.
And they didn't see anything, so they went back to sleep.
I don't know if I would be able to go back to sleep.
Yeah, no. The next day, they did find Brian, and the policeman told him that if he got lost in the woods again, he would not look for him.
Oh.
So basically, like, he was so freaked out, he's like, I'm never coming back in these woods.
All right.
People believe that the stomping was the Burrunjor. However, others argued that the Burrunjor is too small to make thundering sounds like that, so they can't help but wonder if there's a T-Rex version. So, you heard it here first, folks. Dinosaurs exist in Australia. They didn't all die. They just went to Australia.
Okay,
So that's our Creature Corner. It's the Burrunjor.
All right, well, thank you for sharing another Creature Corner.
You're welcome.
In my head, it's like creature spelled with a K and corner spelled with a K.
Okay. You can do that if you
like
want.
the Kardashians.
Can they be backwards Ks? And can it be done in poor child handwriting?
Yep, that's actually seared into my brain now.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
It's in a crayon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like a lemonade stand.
It's you.
It's me behind a lemonade stand with Kreature Korner written on the top, on the banner.
I love that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, fellas. I've got a story for you today. And it did not go exactly the way I thought it would because I went down a rabbit hole.
I love rabbit holes.
I love rabbit holes too. So, Zoey, first off, before I get into this, it has to be known, apparently I can't let you have a damn thing to yourself.
Oh.
You get bangs, I get bangs. You play Dungeons and Dragons, I play Dungeons and Dragons. You start a podcast, I start a podcast.
That was kind of simultaneous, just letting you know.
You cover a haunted hotel, I have to immediately cover a haunted hotel.
Not immediately. There's about 2 or 3 episodes of yours.
I have to wait a couple weeks and then cover a haunted hotel.
I see. Okay.
So, this is a story of the Magnolia Hotel in Seguin, Texas.
Seguin.
I looked up that pronunciation. I was not going to say Seguin before I saw that pronunciation. Did not guess that. Content warning for violence and suicide.
Okay.
All right. A man named James Campbell, who was a Texas Ranger. Think like policeman, but like a bit more than that.
Okay.
For Texas Ranger. I don't know. I tried to look it up and everybody was like, Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that doesn't really help me. He was one of the founders of the town of Seguin in 1838.
Okay.
And real quick side note, which I know it's early for a side note, but Zoe, can you imagine just founding a town today? Like, what if you and I just went driving, saw a patch of land in the middle of nowhere, put down our suitcases, and we're like, yep, we're
ours.
doing this.
Robin, that's my dream.
And just
To start a town with you.
start a town with me.
It would be the best town ever.
It would be like a very small utopia.
Yes. We would claim independence from the United States.
We're going all in for this town.
Yep. Let's buy an island.
Let's buy an island. Could buy an island. You can buy islands for cheaper than you would think.
Yes.
I mean, I can't buy an island.
No.
But other people who have more money than I do could buy it for cheaper than they might think. So, speaking of buying places, he bought a piece of property in Seguin, and he built a cabin there in 1840. It was 2 rooms. It was made of logs.
Okay.
In about 1844, he added 4 more rooms to it. It became the Magnolia Hotel, the first one in Seguin. So, it's really been with the town for almost the town's whole life.
Okay.
He built a second story in 1852, making it looks like what it looks like now. So in old photographs I've seen of it, it's a 2-story rectangular structure, pretty big, and it has a front porch that goes along the entire first floor when you're looking at it, and then a balcony porch that does the same. Except sometime between 1852 or whenever that porch was added and now, they took that away.
Okay.
So now it's got one of those things where it just has a second door that's on the second floor that goes out to nowhere.
That sounds safe.
So don't open the door.
Yeah.
I don't know if it actually still looks like a door on the inside. Maybe it doesn't. But on the outside, you're like, that's a door up there. There's nothing beneath it.
That's scary.
I know, right? And it kind of reminds me of the Winchester house in that way because, you know, that there's like doors you literally can open in the Winchester house and you could just fall.
There's also doors you can open where it's just a brick wall behind it.
Fun.
I love the Winchester house.
I have a lot of thoughts about the Winchester house.
Okay, we'll discuss it.
We'll discuss it. Maybe that could be a something spooky. It would be something
okay.
spooky. Yeah, I don't think it's Southern. And so this hotel was frequented a lot because people would be traveling from the larger cities of Gonzales and San Antonio, and they would stay the night here. It seems like it probably acted as a jail for the town for at least a little bit because I do know that they dug underneath it some, and they had a basement of sorts. And I don't know if people would stay in the basement or if they would, jailed people would stay in the basement or stay in the place regularly. But it was just kind of one of those things that in early towns, you got one building. Okay, guys, you're building for a lot of different things.
It's the hospital, it's the school,
We just use this building.
Yeah.
And in 1875, there was a railroad built to Seguin, so visitors would be able to come and stay even more than they previously were, and it was really a social gathering place for the townspeople as well.
Ooh la la.
Ooh la la. So, this is the part where I went down a rabbit hole and really didn't expect to.
Okay.
Because this is a haunted episode.
Yes.
I went down a true crime rabbit hole.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I have a lot to say, and I went to newspapers at the time, which, you know, when I'm doing that, I'm going nuts. You can find all those in the sources linked on our website. In a nearby town, which was about 15 miles away from Seguin, it is called New Braunfels.
Okay.
And a family lived there. The couple of the family, so the husband and wife, were Julius and Louise Voelcker. They had a few sons, I believe, and they had a daughter named Emma. So a woman named Wilhelm Faust was staying with them over the night. It seemed like she was probably estranged from her husband, William, who was a pharmacist. Or I saw William and Wilhelm. My guess is that it really was Wilhelm, so I'm going to say Wilhelm.
Okay.
So it seemed like she was estranged from him. She was staying over at their place, and the way it usually was set up, because it seems like she would come over pretty often, is that she would sleep in the same room as their daughter, Emma, and they would either share the bed or one person be on the floor on the bed or on a trundle type thing. And on the night of July 22nd, somebody attacked them with an axe. Emma ended up dying. Okay. And then Helene was blinded. I'm not sure if she ultimately survived, but at least she survived for a while and was able to talk about it, but did not know who did it because, you know, she was blinded. Mm-hmm. So 3 days later, on July 25th, Emma was buried. She was 12, almost 13, and a lot of people attended her funeral. One of the newspapers at the time, the Galveston News, reported that day that it was one of the most attended burials the country had ever had. Now, when they say the country, I don't know, like, if this was, I probably should have Googled this. I don't know if they mean the U.S. or if they just mean, like,
that country area.
It could have been that, yeah.
Yeah.
The procession was 3 miles long, though. There were a lot of people there. Also because Julius was actually one of the founders of New Braunfels, too. Okay. Because people are just founding towns left and right. And as of the 25th, they had arrested a few people in connection with the murder, but they didn't have, like, any actual concrete idea of who did it. Okay. They, I think, arrested people in different ways than they can do now. I think beforehand, because we come up with this, including, like, the Axeman of New Orleans episodes, let's say, like, okay, we think this person has something to do with it, let's arrest them, get them in for questioning. Whereas now you can, like, question people, but you're not arresting them.
Right. You're being taken into police custody, but you're not being arrested.
Yeah, and also you don't have to answer.
Right.
They were arresting a few people, but still had no real idea about it. But the paper, the Galveston News, did say, quote, "The people are wild over the horrible occurrence. There are several rumors on what caused the horrible murder, but it would not be wise to publish them," end quote.
Okay.
Meaning that there were a lot of ideas floating around.
It was Wilhelm.
Caught on to that, huh? So on August 1st, it began to be rumored that Wilhelm Faust was arrested on suspicion. Now, we don't actually know if he was arrested by this point, but at least people were starting to think that, maybe he is suspicious.
Right.
The newspaper, the Dallas Daily Herald, reported that another part of the rumor surrounding Wilhelm was that he had a second wife and a child in Seguin.
Ooh.
It should be noted that this newspaper kind of thought that this was just not true. It was just people talking, and I haven't seen anything about that otherwise, so my guess is that was just a rumor. But I'm saying it because there's a lot involved that people said in, like, this 1875 era, 1874, 1875, that is, like, gets passed along, and their messages shift and change, and so now we're trying to glean facts from it when really it's just so difficult because people say whatever and think they heard something wrong, and memories change, and anyway, I'm saying this because it's just messy.
Okay.
Yeah. It was also reported that police questioned a man whom Miss Faust Helene had been seeing before she got married. So if they had taken him in for questioning, it doesn't necessarily mean that they were like, oh, well, we have reason to believe it was him. It could just mean they were doing don't arrest people, but they were doing the responsible thing of questioning people who had been tied to her.
Right.
Thinking that the murder was there maybe for her rather than just for whatever reason wanting to murder Emma.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the reasonable assumption that nobody...
That it was Helene rather than...
Emma that was supposed to be the victim.
Yeah, especially since, you know, this house doesn't get attacked every night, but the night that Helene is there, it does get attacked. And in the room that Helene was in.
Yeah. And I don't really think a 12-year-old would have done anything so offensive to anybody that they wanted to kill her.
Yeah. Well, I don't think people were thinking that Helene had done anything too offensive to people.
Well, Helene has history, at least. A 12-year-old doesn't.
Yes, that is very true. So they definitely did arrest Wilhelm on or by November 1st.
Okay.
No. Yeah. Here's what they think happened. They think that he went to the Voelckers to kill Helene.
Okay. So
he could marry her sister. Now, here's my issue with this.
Okay.
It can be summed up with the sound you just made. My thing is, crazy things happen in history. Yeah. There are some truly, wild rides of stories out there. But you also, when you're reading it from the perspective of 2021, you have to kind of look at things like, what would somebody say maybe a century ago, maybe more, if they were trying to tell this story to other people and wanted to add a dramatic flair to it?
Okay.
And it would 100% be that he wanted to marry her sister.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't necessarily know what I think of that. I honestly, okay, here's what I actually do think of it. I kind of think that it was a rumor that was made up a very, very long time ago that has stayed with us. Because my guess is we probably are not going to actually know the specific motive other than he wanted to kill his wife.
Yeah. I mean, if they're already estranged and being a widow...
Likely estranged.
Likely estranged, okay.
Yeah.
And being a widower is considered more respectable than being a divorcee.
Mm.
So, I can see it. Maybe not the marry her sister part, but I can definitely see him being like, well, she doesn't want to be with me, so I'm going to kill her. Because, that happens today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I wasn't saying that I don't think he killed her.
Oh, no, yeah.
Yeah. We're on the same page.
We are.
They think that because, Helene did stay with this couple quite a bit, and he knew that she would stay in Emma's room, and they were thinking that, okay, maybe they were both on the bed and he just hit one, maybe one was on the floor and he didn't.
No.
They kind of think that maybe he got Emma mixed up for Helene because it was dark and that he attacked her and then...
And he could have been drunk.
Could have been drunk. A lot of things could have been happening.
Yeah.
But basically they think he went in there for Helene and Emma was just the...
Collateral damage. Yeah. He left quickly after that and he actually went to stay in the Magnolia Hotel. Okay. Which is how the hotel becomes a part of the story. So he traveled to Seguin, used this place to hide out. And when all of this did come to light, people got suspicious of him because he was doing the thing that a lot of people who kill their wives do, which is to not be super interested in finding out who killed the wife. Because, if you... Okay, let's say... And I know I talk about Chris Watts a lot, but this really does mimic it. It's like, okay, well, you should be leading a search into who killed your wife, not saying, I just want them back. I don't know what happened. Right. Yeah.
He wasn't searching for them in the way that if somebody was innocent, they would search for them.
Right. Especially since his wife was still alive, theoretically.
Oh, Will's wife, Helene?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you'd think if she got attacked and it wasn't you...
You would definitely want to know who was out there.
And you would be with her.
Yeah. Not, hiding out in the Magnolia Hotel. Yeah. So, in October 1875, he was convicted of murdering Emma. And... I saw reports, but they weren't from the time period, so I don't know if this is true or not. But I saw reports that he apparently confessed in the trial that he did kill Emma and said that he killed other people as well.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. But I saw no other details about who else he killed. And it's hard to say for sure because it was so long ago. He was sentenced to life.
Okay.
But a lot of people were upset about that because they wanted him to get the death penalty. And people kind of stormed the jail he was in and tried to lynch him. So, and this is over the period of several months, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They take him to a courthouse and where he is has 40 people around him who were keeping him jailed but also protecting him.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody shoots him through a window and kills him.
Wow.
Yeah. So he dies there and he dies just over 2 years after Emma's murder.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, the Dallas Daily Herald reported on this, and they said in their August 1st edition, quote, "The avenger of the murdered Miss Emma Voelcker made good his escape because a person shot him and then got away," which, I don't know, there's like 40 people specifically like tasked with guarding you.
Yeah.
Like, granted, you're all in a building, and the shot comes from outside the building.
Yeah, but like somebody could have ran outside the building.
A lot of people could have ran outside the building.
I think what you're hinting at is it's one of those cases where they're like, oh no, he's been shot. No. Whatever will we do?
Nobody's said that, but that's my inference of the situation, okay? Now, Helene did think that her husband was innocent, like the whole time, even after he supposedly confessed in the trial. And I can see that.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of abusive, or not abusive,
this would probably have been an abusive relationship,
well,
honestly.
Abused women who, or even abused partners who claim that their partners are innocent and try to stick up for them even though they're being abused by their partner.
100%.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. Now, here's the part that made me, like, really wonder what was going on and kind of inspired me to go down the rabbit hole, which was that people a few years later, and some still today, don't believe that it was Wilhelm.
Okay.
Apparently, there was another... supposedly,
possibly, maybe, perhaps.
Perhaps another person admitted to the killing.
Okay.
And I'm going to butcher this newspaper name. I'm going to butcher it.
Please do.
The New Braunfels Zeitung, a newspaper,
okay,
reported that there was another person to confess the killing, and it's a rumor, and I'm gonna have to tell you like how to get to it, but my brain, I know how the information got across, but it's so difficult to explain. This guy said that another guy told him that a woman who came to stay with him told him that a man who stayed with her died staying with her, and before he died said, "By the way, I killed Emma Voelcker."
So reliable.
Super reliable. And this New Braunfels Zeitung, they were like, huh. So they went and they ended up talking to the guy who told the original guy that the woman came. So we've now taken out the first level of this.
Yes.
And so they're like, okay, listen, a while ago this guy said that you said that this woman came with you and said that this guy died who's staying with her and yada, yada, yada. Uh-huh. And he's like, that's not exactly what I said. And the guy said, okay, what happened was this woman came to stay with me a while ago, and she told me that a man had come to stay with her and that he had gotten sick, and then he went away, and that somebody, after he went away, was like, you know, he killed Emma Voelcker, right?
So much more reliable.
So New Braunfels was like, none of this is real. And I saw it, like, so that was reprinted in a magazine, in a newspaper. It was reprinted in a newspaper that I didn't list here, but trust me, I have the link in our sources.
You're fine.
And they were like, yeah, so it probably didn't happen too. But they did note that another newspaper said that they had like access to a letter or something that was written to a respectable person in their town, which made them think that they had a slightly more real grasp on maybe this wasn't so much a rumor. But I argue everything is hearsay and all of that is rumor filled, and that's what I was able to find that points to it not being Wilhelm. Now, again, I didn't see real evidence that he did it, but I'm also reporting from about 140 years in the future. And sometimes it is hard to find the evidence with this vantage point.
Especially since back then they didn't, have policies and procedures and DNA and fingerprints.
Yeah, none of it.
And
What we do know is that since he was convicted, he ended up being killed for it, which does not mean that he did it, but
no.
Things point in his direction way more than they point away from his direction.
Right. And statistically, like, whenever somebody dies, the first person you look at is their spouse.
Yep. Well, I mean, she didn't die.
Well, she was attacked. Yeah.
She was attacked, yeah.
And somebody did die.
So anyway, I say all that to, like, just let you know that rabbit hole I went down where pretty sure that it was Wilhelm Faust, who killed Emma and blinded Helene Faust.
And
he
he
stayed at the Magnolia Hotel.
Okay.
This will not be the last we hear about Wilhelm.
Okay.
All right. Back to the hotel's history. The Magnolia wasn't fireproof, and so when...
No, places made out of logs usually aren't.
Well, it wasn't completely... The first two were made out of logs, and then it expanded and was made out of a thing called limecrete, okay?
Limecrete.
Yeah, it's like mixture...
Limestone concrete.
I looked it up, and it was like lime and I think sand, but I wasn't completely sure, and then I was like, is this pertinent? And then I was like, no, it's never gonna come up. And then it came up. So now I look unprepared.
You're welcome.
But it's not completely made out of logs, so I'll show you a picture. It wasn't fireproof. Like I said, it was built when the town was first founded, so now that other buildings are being built around, people are like, you know what, we don't want to burn in the night. So they're going to stay at these other places, and so less revenue is coming into the hotel, and so it kind of gets pretty worn down, and it's sold, and it's no longer a hotel by 1936.
Okay.
People are still living in it because they're like opening up oil wells, places where people go. Oil rigs, thank you. They're opening up oil rigs, and people are coming to work at the oil rigs, and they're like, okay, we will live in this building. So now it's like apartments. And it's inhabited through the rest of the century, and around 2000, maybe a little bit before, no one legally lived in it.
Okay.
So from then to 2013, nobody legally lived in it. There were squatters during this time. So people would come and stay. Because, I mean, like, nobody's in there. Mm-hmm. You might as well.
Yeah.
I mean, don't do that now. It's inhabited.
It's illegal.
It's inhabited now. Yeah, and it's illegal. Don't actually do that. Okay, in 2012, it was added to Texas's most endangered historic places list.
Okay.
And in 2013... it was bought by Aaron and Jim Getty and began to be renovated for use. They asked the owner that they were buying it from. They were like, is this place haunted? And the owner was like, no, it's not haunted. And was like, no, it's not haunted. Like, legitimately, no, I'm making it sound like they're lying, but that's just what I do. I don't mean to do that. But, like, no, they were like, it's not haunted.
Okay.
And it seemed like they probably believed that.
But then they did renovations, and you know what renovations do.
You know what renovations do, but even before the renovations started, Aaron and Jim, they're like, okay, we bought the house. And then they go to, well, they bought the hotel, whatever they were going to, use it for. And then they were like, okay, we're going to go back. We're going to drink champagne. So they tell it like he was pouring champagne into the cups she was holding out. And then they heard like 3 doors slam one after another. And then cold wind like went in between them. And they were like, okay, so it's haunted. And they did sit because they started renovating.
Okay.
And it took them 6 years.
6
years. It's not a big place. It took them 6 years because they said the contractors would quit, that their equipment wasn't working right when they were on the property.
Ooh.
It took, like I said, 6 years, but they finally opened it up to guests in August of 2019.
Okay.
And
August 2019?
August of 2019.
You know how recently that was?
I'm aware.
That's very recently.
It was just over 2 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's been inhabited for a very long time, but
yeah.
Now it's officially a hotel. Again. And it's actually what it is. They have it on Airbnb.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So they allow up to 4 guests at a time. I'm going to tell you real quick about some of the haunted things that they're experiencing in the space because they're there a lot. So they say that phones that weren't hooked up would ring.
Ooh.
Creepy.
Very. Does anybody ever answer them?
I don't know.
I would totally answer
They didn't say, and then the ghost said yada yada.
You know what? I probably wouldn't answer it because I do have phone anxiety.
You'd be afraid of embarrassing yourself in front of the ghost that's calling you? That's the thing that would stop you from answering the phone?
Yes.
Okay. They see shadow figures.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome. Love some shadow figures.
Things will pop up in mirrors.
No, thank you.
The owners will hear voices saying their names at night.
No, thank you.
Furniture moves.
Okay.
That's pretty basic.
Yeah.
Here's a thing. She says they got a photo of something coming out of a mirror.
No, thank you.
I didn't see the photo.
Okay.
But the idea of something coming out of a mirror is truly, like, haunting and awful to me. I'm really scared of mirrors.
You got that mirror on the when we did the BuzzFeed quizzes. It was like, what haunted item are you? It was your mirror.
Check it out, Patreon for more. And non-surprisingly, they offer ghost tours out of their hotel.
100%.
100%. Now, there is a historical marker outside, and this is the last thing I will say before getting to the ghosty portion of this.
Okay.
We weren't in it yet. We're getting to it now.
Okay.
But this last thing I'll say before that, there's a historical marker outside that ends with the sentence, quote, "It is interesting to note, over the 175 years of the hotel's existence, thousands of guests have checked into the Magnolia Hotel, but many say some of them have never checked out." On to the ghosts.
Okay.
So, what had happened was with the restorations, okay, the up to 4 guests who can stay in it, the thing you can rent out on Airbnb, it is in the upstairs section. You get a suite, which is like 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, a kitchen, and a living room.
Oh, nice.
It's a lot. So that's what they renovated. And then there is a door that has a code that they give you if you do the Airbnb, and it goes to the unrenovated section.
Ooh.
Now, you by no means have to go in there. They're not forcing you to go in there, but you can go in there if you want to, and it is really in the unrenovated section where a lot of the activity takes place.
Oh.
Like, you can still get some, I've read, and I will share some experiences not in that section, but in the unrenovated section is really where it is, and Wilhelm's room is in the unrenovated section.
Can I just say how much I freaking love their idea of, hey, you guys get to stay in the nice section, and this area is locked off. We'll give you the code to it. You may enter if you dare.
100%, yeah.
I love that. That's so smart of them.
It is so smart. You can also rent paranormal investigation equipment from them.
Oh my gosh.
So
they're
you stay
so
over
smart.
there. And all the reviews say, rent the equipment.
Well, see, the thing is, like, they could have just left that an open door. They could have just said, hey, go in and you can explore house. No, they locked it. You know what that gives you? That gives you a feeling of like, I'm not really supposed to be here, you know?
Oh, you're totally right. They could have just been like, and you could just open the door and go in if you feel like it, because obviously you already have like a check-in thing that you used to get in here too.
Yeah, but the fact that they added a lock and they're like, you can go in if you want to. And it's like, it just adds this like level of mystery to it. Of spelunking,
because you have to be like really intentional. It's like an active choice that you have to be like, yep, I'm typing in the code.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. They are so smart. Okay.
Really good branding decision, guys.
Yeah.
So there's lots of 13s associated with this place. They bought it in 2013. I saw that they're this location's 13th owners.
Oh. That could be fabricated though.
I
feel like that could be fudged pretty easily.
It could have been fudged pretty easily. I can't remember. I know I saw it in one of the sources I listed, but I can't remember exactly which one.
Okay.
And there are supposedly 13 ghosts.
Okay.
Zoey is suspicious, guys. Now, according to the owners, here are some of the ghosts. They say Emma haunts the place.
Why would Emma haunt the place?
The thought is that her murderer used this as his getaway, and so therefore she is tied to the place.
Oh, theoretically, she could have come back to haunt him while he was staying there, and then after he left, she just was stuck.
I guess that's possible.
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought about it in those terms. They say that she made friends with the other children ghosts, and there's a video that has been released, because I'm going to get to the end with, like, more of the video evidence and stuff. Well, evidence. No. I mean, okay, one of them I think is maybe not credible, and the other one I find interesting.
Okay.
And by not credible, I just mean there's other things that could have caused the things that were going on in the video, not like really any malicious intent.
Like bugs?
Not quite. I'll show you. Yeah, they say that it was her doing one of the things that we'll see in one of the videos. And they also say there's a ghost named Amelia. There's a sign on a door that says Amelia's room, so they've like labeled the rooms of like, okay, this guest stayed here, this guest stayed here. And she apparently passed away while she was sleeping, and people say they see her in the rocking chair in her room. Yeah. There's a ghost girl named Itzy, who is about 8. We're gonna call her Itsy Bitsy Spider.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
actually, I was thinking of the Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini. Yeah.
Well, anyway, Itzy was 8.
Okay.
Uh,
Probably not wearing a bikini.
Probably not, no. One of the owners was named Dr. William Sims Reed. He owned it about 1850 or so it must have been like pretty soon after its opening. And they believe that his wife haunts the building and looks after the children ghosts, so they call her Mrs. Reed.
Oh, that's cute.
It is cute. It's very cute. There was, okay, and this is the part where we're getting to the suicide content warning, so it's like skip ahead 30 seconds. One of the ghosts, Willie, was a teenager who was pregnant, and in the bathtub in one of the rooms, they say that either she tried to have an abortion, like as in tried to give herself an abortion, or she tried to kill her, or she did kill herself, and either way, she didn't make it through.
Okay.
Yes. They also say that she's nice.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and she haunts the bathroom.
Okay.
Yeah. And throwback, James Campbell, founder of Seguin, co-founder of Seguin, first owner of the hotel, also haunts there.
That makes sense.
People see him in the 2 rooms that were part of the cabin he originally built.
That makes sense.
It does check out, yeah. And then Wilhelm
is
one of the ghosts, and more likely to haunt his unrenovated room.
Okay.
There is an activity that happens in that room that I will get to later. Here's some things people can generally experience there. You can hear ghosts, sometimes talking, sometimes walking around.
Just having a party.
Just having a party. Here's an interesting thing that I don't see in a lot of these things. Each ghost has a specific smell to them.
Okay.
I've seen like a lot of people describing, I've seen people describing their experience there that are like, okay, I smelled a cigar, he smelled a flower. Or we went here and it smelled like this, we went here, it smelled like this. And they're saying these are like the different scents that these spirits bring with them. Why are you laughing?
I was thinking, okay, ghost sniffer. To me, that's just so funny. Okay. Who's going around sniffing ghosts?
I mean, you're in a room, you're not exactly being like, Tim, what do you think? But like, okay, let's say you're in a room and like the smell of a cigar wafts in and you're like, well, this is an old ass haunted house. It's not supposed to smell like cigars right now.
Right. Yeah.
It means the ghost came in.
It makes sense, but
it makes sense.
Get it? It makes sense.
Because it's a sense?
No, sense.
Oh, because it's you smell things and that is a scent. Wow. Okay. People will also feel the ghosts near them, like be like, spooky. This is eerie. A journalist for Spectrum One News named Michael Garcia stayed the night there, or at least he visited there. And while he was there, his technology acted up in odd ways.
Ooh.
In Wilhelm Faust's room, he was filming with his video camera. And
that's usually what you do with a video camera.
Shut up, Zoe. He was filming with his video camera, and the screen went black for a couple seconds, and then picked up right there. And, like, I'm sure he has professional equipment. That doesn't usually happen.
Right.
And that comes up again with somebody else.
Ooh. Some ghost just put their hand on the lens.
I'm sure that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Also, in my research, I have read about people who have stayed in the suite, and like I said, it has 2 bedrooms, and so some people are like, so I slept here, and then they slept in this other room. And I'm just letting you know, Zoe, if ever you and I are like staying in a haunted hotel together,
we're staying in the same bed.
Thank you. Okay, yes. Thank you.
No, we're sleeping in the same bed, not just the same bedroom, the same bed.
Because I'm just like, I want to be respectful of Zoe's space, but also I'm going to be on top of her.
No, 100%. Like, they can think we're lesbians all they want. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah,
I am staying with you. No. Okay, so what am I doing next? Oh, yeah, okay, cool. This is a good one. So, a magazine, Austin Woman. They had a writer, Nikki Jones, and the managing editor of the magazine go to stay at the hotel for a night, and it was called My Night at the Haunted Magnolia Hotel.
How original of a title.
I liked it.
Oh, okay.
So, the owners gave them a tour before the owners left. So, the owner was talking about Rose, who's apparently a ghost there. So, I didn't find any other information on Rose. Otherwise, she would have been my notes on Rose, the ghost. But she was talking about Rose, the ghost, and then both visitors smelled, quote, a strong powdery odor, end quote. And Aaron was like, that's Rose.
I'm sorry. What smell is powdery?
Like baby powder or something, I guess.
Okay. I guess.
But it's like, it wasn't there, and then she mentioned rose, and then that scent is there. So
Okay.
another instance of just smells happening. Right when the owners were about to leave for the night, they were like, okay, goodbye. And then a rocking chair started rocking. And then they were like, all right, bye. And then they left. So you got these two people who were staying there. They were given EMF readers, which did go off at a certain point. Now, one of the owners warned them that ghosts would use guests' phones to take photos. Mm-hmm. And they were like, okay. So they looked through their photos to see if any of them were not taken by them. And one of them found 3 on their phone.
Ooh.
Yes. So there were 3 photos that they did not take. 2 of them were black.
Okay.
Hence the, like, remember the recording
right.
of the black image? Okay, thank you. 2 of them were black, and then one of them was of the stairs that led up to the suite.
Okay.
At this point in time, because they were looking at when it was taken, they realized that it was when they were leaving the apartment in the evening to go get some food, and that the phone had been in her pocket. Huh. So, like, she wasn't even touching her phone. She didn't take those photos.
Right.
Spooky.
Spooky.
Yes. Now, when they were going to sleep, one of them saw an orb move. They were in the bedroom, but they were, I think, looking into the living room, and they saw the orb move, and they said there was no sound, so no cars were going outside on the street. It was just, an orb. And
just
then
there.
And then, not there eventually.
Yeah.
And then 3 hours later, they saw an orb again.
Ooh.
I can't imagine just being there for like 3 hours, like watching that open door. It's my hell. I would close all the doors.
And the windows.
And
cover all the mirrors.
Oh, gosh, yeah. I can't be doing with a mirror. Man, if something tried to come out of a mirror at me.
No.
I really can't imagine it.
We'd be sleeping in the car.
I'd be sleeping in not Texas is what I would be doing. So they also, this final thing, they also heard somebody opening a champagne bottle. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's another written account for it, this time published in Houstonian magazine, and called Searching for Spirits at Seguin's Haunted Hotel. This was by Abby Ledoux, and in it, a group of friends are staying at the hotel. 2 of them go exploring in the unrenovated section.
Oh.
And they go into Wilhelm's room, and then their EMF reader goes off. It goes really off.
Really off.
And then they run away.
Oh, okay.
And then 2 of them, again, go back out. This isn't the same 2. One of them dropped off and another one came on. Went back out into the unrenovated section a little later. By the way, this is at night.
Okay.
Just, have that in your mind. Yeah. And they smelled 2 different things. One of them, like I said earlier, smelled a cigar smoke. Mm-hmm. The other one smelled patchouli, which is a type of flower. I had to Google.
Oh, okay.
I also might have butchered that name. One of them earlier, when they were touring the place, had seen their name like written in dust on the mirror, and they kind of thought that it might have been the owners playing a prank.
Okay.
And it was like in this one certain room. It wasn't in Wilhelm's room. This was a different room, but it's still in the unrenovated section. And so she went back to that room that night, and she ended up, I believe, thinking that it wasn't so much a prank, but like genuinely a ghost, because she went to a closet that the ghost of that room shows up in sometimes. She pulled out like the EMF reader, and it spiked, and then a breeze went past her ankles.
A kitty
really
ghost.
Looking around, perhaps. And she said they knew they weren't alone. Mm-hmm. During the night, one of them, when they're in their rooms and stuff, did hear people talking in low voices, people that weren't their friends.
Yeah.
People walking up and down the stairs. And this one got me. Trying to open doors. Hell no. Hail to the no.
No.
Not doing it. Mm-mm. Don't open my... Okay,
So the thing with that, though, is it's not necessarily a ghost. That's the thing that would scare me the most, is because it could be, like, a murderer,
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they should have checked that out. Oh, you're totally right. Sometimes my brain didn't go there. I mean, if you're there and
if you're in a haunted hotel, you're going to think it's a ghost. But if I was just, like, here, let's say I was here alone because Kari was at work or whatever, and I just hear somebody, like, shaking the front door, I think somebody's going to come and kill me.
There's a girl who, like, this happened in one of the cities I lived in. She thought that there was a ghost in the apartment, but it was a guy who was living in their closet.
I've heard several stories like that.
Guys, if you think if for some reason you think that there's a ghost, just do a sweep.
Yeah. Make sure nothing's...
Get somebody with you and do a sweep.
Yes. And preferably have something on you to defend yourself, like mace or
get a bat, get a
friend.
A friend. Do a sweep. Make sure you have your phone.
Yeah.
This has been life advice from Robin and Zoe.
Yes.
Now, so I'm going to request that you turn the lights off. For the spooky factor. I'm going to show you my computer. And we're going to go through a few of the photos that are shared and just debate what we think that they are.
Okay.
Because some of them are creepier than others.
Okay.
That one.
That looks like a person.
I know. It's labeled as like a shadow figure, but I'm looking at it and I'm thinking that's a blurry person.
That's just a person who was moving when the photo was taken.
All right. This was found on the Haunted Magnolia Hotel, Seguin, Texas Facebook page. But yeah, they have a few things up, but I did include this one. I was pretty sure it was a person, but I wanted to show you anyway.
Especially, you see that green line?
Yeah, they said that was like their flashlight that was moving through the person.
To me, it looks like he probably had an EMF reader, and it was like, walking with him, and they had a slow shutter speed.
It's just one of those things that I feel like you could totally take that photo, not be really looking at your phone, and then later look at it and be like, oh, that was a shadow figure, but really it was probably just a person walking in front of your camera at the time that you don't remember.
I have several photos from our trip to Asheville where I'm like, I know I could post this and say it was an orb, but
it wasn't an orb.
It wasn't an orb. It was the reflection of the streetlights. Like, the streetlights were reflecting off of my phone camera onto the building. There's just a whole bunch of ways that photos can look creepy. Yeah. Now let's look at a few others. These are from their website, hauntedmagnoliahotel.com. This is the first one. Can you turn it a little bit more this way?
Yeah.
No, you're good.
So in this one, we have a woman who's smiling in front of a window, and in the window, it looks like there is a woman or a girl pretty high up who, in white, is looking out.
Yeah, I do get ghosty vibes from this one. Yeah. However, anything on their official page, I do want to take with a grain of salt. Just because, like, they could easily alter it if they wanted to get people to come in, Yeah,
that's true.
But this one is pretty convincing, but I almost wonder if it's too clear.
So I think I'm in the boat of I can totally see somebody looking at that and thinking that's person. Also, if I took that photo on my phone, I think I would probably be pretty freaked out. Yes. But I can also see that just being like, probably something happening out on the street. I feel like it's not impossible to get that as a reflection.
Well, you can definitely see like the hairline and the sunken eyes.
That's true. But humans do look for human faces and everything.
That is true.
We can't turn that off in our brains.
No, we can't. So, okay. So I'd give that like a 6 out of 10 possibility.
Ooh, we're going to do that for the rest of these.
Okay.
Okay. That one. I honestly don't really get what's supposed to be being seen in this one. It looks like that might be the thing. There's like a group of people who look like they're dressed in old-timey clothes, and then in it there is this odd white bright blurry thing about face level, if not a little bit higher, in which case I can totally see that just being a thing moving in the camera and you can't really tell what it is. But I mean, if that's actually what it looked like there, that looks super creepy.
Yeah. So I have a hard time believing in orbs in general, unless you're
I wasn't thinking orb.
Oh, really? It looks like an orb to me.
There's like a lot of wispy things to it.
Yeah, but sometimes orbs aren't necessarily perfectly circular every time. I know it's called an orb, but a spirit orb sometimes looks funky, Yeah. But I just have a hard time believing in orbs sometimes.
I'm with you.
They're really easy to accidentally create.
I see photos of orbs and I'm thinking, that was a bug. That was literally anything that flies around.
Yeah, it can be easily edited, Yeah. So I'd give that like a 4 out of 10 possibility.
Out of 10. Okay. This one. I like this one.
I do like this one. I do have to say the same thing, though, that we look for faces everywhere. However, due to the age of this one and just like the quality of it, So first of all, it's a window pane, and it looks like we're on the ground, and this is maybe the second level.
Yeah, we're looking up at it.
Yes, and it's sepia tone and poor quality, so I'm thinking it's a little bit of an older photo, or it's edited to look older, and you just see a face in the pane.
Yeah.
I would give that a 7 or an 8 out of 10 for a possibility.
That's my favorite one so far.
Yes.
And it is looking at us.
Would you call that a man, or? I think it looks like a man.
It could honestly be either, but I could see it being a man. I guess I was looking at it and thinking man, but I don't know why.
Yeah.
This is an orb. I don't give it much credence.
Oh no, that looks almost exactly like the photo I have that I said I could say is an orb. So I give that like a 1 out of 10 possibility.
We have a 1 out of 10, guys. And then this is the final one. And so we're obviously inside the house. It looks like it's nighttime outside. There is a light on. There's a couple women looking at something. And then behind one of them in the window pane, so from outside, is what looks like a kid.
See, I barely even see anything. Like,
I see that?
I see what they're trying to say is a face. Mm-hmm. But it honestly kind of just...
I almost see like a kid who's looking out this way, like in the direction that they're
okay.
looking. But I'm looking at that and I'm not terribly convinced by it because, again, I just feel like anything can happen in reflections.
Yeah, and honestly, like, that could be a legit kid standing outside.
It could be a legit kid outside.
Yeah, so I give that, like, a 3 out of 10 possibility.
So really this averaged 5 out of 10 with 1 8 or so out of 10. Okay, thank you for looking at that with me.
Of course.
Now what we're going to do is one of my favorite things that we do.
Okay.
And it is looking at videos.
I love videos of ghosts because those are so much harder to fake.
They are. I'm going to show you the one that I'm iffiest about. Okay. And by iffiest, I mean I don't think anything supernatural is happening there. And also, just so we know, there was a Ghost Adventures episode of this, and they were like, do you want to buy it for $3? And I was like, I'm cheap. So I didn't watch it, but like we can assume what happened.
Mm-hmm. For if we get 1 Patreon.
So, okay, I'm gonna hit play.
Okay.
So, Zoe, we watched that first video, and it is by a group called Strange Town. They're paranormal investigators. And, you know, they went to the Magnolia Hotel, so this is their footage, not people who own the hotel or anything. And they call it Campbell Mist because it's from the Campbell room. And what happened is... Here's what they're saying happened. A black mist entered from the left side, and it enters apparently a couple times. And then white mist goes in front of the camera and it kind of swirls around, and they're saying it goes throughout the room. I don't think any of this is legit one bit.
It literally looks like somebody is sitting, like, in front of the light and vaping.
I agree. Okay, it is something that could so easily be faked, and I think I was, like, trying to soften that earlier because, like, it's kind of what I think. I was trying to make it not seem... I don't know, I was trying to be, like, nice, but really, okay, I'm objectively looking at this, and I'm thinking... The black mist looks like maybe a shadow of a person who's, like, walking even close to the camera, and the white mist looks like it's not swirling around the room. It looks like it's just in front of the camera.
Right.
And it looks like it's purposefully being blown up. So we can maybe even the black mist is just a person going down to do that.
Maybe.
Now, honestly, the second time watching it, the black mist looked less like a shadow and more like maybe there was actually something, but not like, I'm not looking at that and thinking supernatural.
No. Do vape clouds give off a shadow?
I have no idea.
Because
I don't vape.
I could see if vape clouds are dense enough that they could cast a slight shadow.
They're pretty dense.
I could see that black mist being the shadow of the vape cloud, and then we see the white mist, which is the vape cloud going up. And I can't help but wonder if there was a member who wasn't supposed to be vaping and he was there, and then the others caught it on camera, and they were and he was like, "Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, that was a ghost. Ooh."
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's it. I think I would like to think that. I don't like to think that the people are, like, genuinely doing this on purpose, like faking something on purpose. I was just saying that, not so much accusing, but just saying as a person who's watching it, that's my first thought when I see this.
if you vape, first of all, don't. Second of all, shine a flashlight on your vape cloud and see if it casts a shadow and get back to us, please.
This has been life advice from Zoey and Robin. All right, the second video that I found pretty interesting.
Okay.
And I found one person's Reddit comment even more interesting. I'm gonna remember to tell you after we watch this. So, alrighty.
So this video was a soccer ball in the center of the room that was still at first, and there was other movement happening, like there was flashing lights, so you know it's not a paused video. So it was still at first, and then suddenly it starts moving a little bit, and then it like shoots across the room, and when it shoots,
It doesn't shoot across the room.
Okay.
It rolls more
Very quickly
across the room.
and then there's a mannequin with a dress on in the corner, and the ruffles of the dress moves. Not in the way like wind would move it, where it flutters back and flutters forward a little bit. It literally looks like a hand like grabs it, moves it back, holds it there, and then lets it go. And then there's a shadow figure that
in the doorway. There's definitely a black movement,
right,
and it almost looks like it enters the room.
Yeah.
Their theory for this, and by there I mean like I think the owners.
Okay.
Pretty sure. Their theory for this is,
I would say a kid.
yeah, they think Emma playing with the ball. And then their theory is that it's Mrs. Reed who is the shadow figure, as in like watching over, because that's what fits with, Mrs. Reed watching the kids. Now, my only thing is, and I'm going to kind of, I guess, get into this a little bit, but I don't necessarily know if I think like we can attribute Emma as an haunting here.
Yeah.
It more seems like she is a well-known figure who is associated with here, and so I can totally see how maybe you would make the connection. But also she's like, her ghost was a 12-year-old. I don't know if she would be the one most likely to be playing with the ball, especially when there's other kid ghosts supposedly
Yeah,
there.
you said there was Itzy who was 9.
Itzy who is 8,
8.
and then there's, I think, supposedly more. But this is like kind of going into a thing. We can turn the light back on now if you want. This is kind of going into a thing in terms of like attributing ghosts, like, or people who were maybe historically at the hotel or personality or something to these spirits, is that I don't know if that's like really as definitive as people might say.
Right.
So we see this a lot. We've seen it in Moon River Brewing. We've seen it in King's Tavern. I got a lot of King's Tavern vibes from this, by the way.
Okay.
We've seen it in the Crescent Hotel. We've seen it here, where people do like say, okay, well, this ghost is this person. This is this. And I would just kind of really love a place that says, we don't know what the hell is going on. This is a Holiday Inn that opened a year ago. Shit's going crazy right now. I would just kind of, I feel like that would be like a little bit refreshing to just be like, we don't know what's going on, but here's all the things that are happening, not the things like we're necessarily inferring about it.
Right. Yeah. Like, I would love the idea of somebody just being like, so occasionally our silverware is found in the ceiling and we don't know why, we don't know who, we don't know how.
But it is happening. All right, now I'm going to get into some in-person experiences people have had and put on the internet.
Okay.
Which is like my other favorite thing to do, other than going through videos. So, Reddit user u/DOMTX79.
Yes.
They said something on Reddit, believe it or not. And they talk about using dowsing rods, which are long L-shaped things you can hold in either hand. And the idea is you ask them, the spirit, to like guide the rods in certain ways that indicate certain answers to your question. Okay, so it's a way of communicating with spirits, and this is, by the way, edited for length and clarity.
Okay.
Good morning.
Hi.
That's how it starts off. Good morning. Myself and my younger cousin and a couple of friends stayed recently in one of the most haunted places in Texas and America. As a kid, I heard... Why are you laughing?
No.
As a kid, I heard stories of this old hotel and the dark history behind it. In recent years, a few paranormal shows showcased and did some investigations there. So when I saw in our local news that the Magnolia Hotel was opening back up for visitors to stay the night, I was stoked. Needless to say, I recorded so much activity on tape and in personal experience. The findings I have will raise the hairs on your body, hearing voices, seeing shadows, hearing footsteps, showing the EVP sessions, and hearing our names. I actually got touched twice, and the second time was so chilling. We were outside of this room that had so much activity. My friend had the dowsing rods. She asked if there was a Sprite. You know, I almost wonder if he said spirit. That makes more sense. And maybe like autocorrect or something.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume it was spirit. Sprite and point where it was at. 3 times it pointed directly at me. Ooh. She asked if the spirit was next to me. The rod said no. She asked if it was behind me. It said yes. At that moment, I felt someone grab my right shoulder and slowly move its hand down my back. I got such cold chills, and it felt like tingling and numbing for a good few minutes.
These ghosts need to go to a sexual harassment seminar.
Yeah, they're touching a lot of things. And I'm like, okay, hey guys, hands to yourself. Hands to yourself. Then, because this is really an Airbnb situation, I got to see a lot of Airbnb reviews.
Ooh.
Now, one of them talked about seeing a pale face looking out of one of the windows.
Oh, sorry, that was just me.
Don't worry, guys, it was just Zoey. No, but looking out of one of the windows, which does line up with some of the photos we saw.
Mm-hmm.
And then one person said that they were sleeping in Amelia's room, the one labeled Amelia's room, felt someone come in, and saw and felt the sheet tighten by their leg. Like someone was sitting on it or pulling at it. How is that cute, Zoey?
I thought they were tucking them in.
I don't think that's what was going on, Zoey. I think this was another one of those sexual harassment training seminar things. Okay, now into written reviews. This one is from Jackie.
Hi, Jackie.
Hands down was a trip of a lifetime. If you are not a believer, you will be by the time you leave. The history and beauty of this hotel was remarkable. Clean and comfy accommodations. Exploring the unrestored side of the building was so fun. If you come to stay, be sure to rent the ghost hunting equipment. We were able to communicate with the ghost using the REM pod. We also got some loud banging on the wall outside of one of the rooms we were investigating in. It was so hard and loud, it shook the floor. Thanks for an absolutely wonderful girls' trip.
My kind of girls' trip.
I loved that last line. I loved it so much.
It's great.
This is an Airbnb review from Laura and also the last of our episode because this is a really long episode, guys. My group had a lot of fun. We were playing with marbles, and one of the little girls moved the marbles. My friend would knock on the floor 3 times, and somebody would respond back.
Oh.
She did it differently each time, and each time the ghost mirrored her. I think I caught a reflection of a ghost in a mirror, and so did my friend. The stuffed animal that I brought for the girls later on that night, something squeezed it 3 times, and it roared.
Oh, it was one of those animals with the voice box.
That didn't click for me. I was just like, it roared. I don't think that was a little girl ghost. Where was I? And it roared. Something touched my face in the middle of the night in John Doe's room. There's a room called John Doe's room. Something touched my friend's neck and foot in the next room.
Sexual harassment.
I know, right? And a door slammed as my sister was trying to leave one of the rooms. I also saw 3 orbs near the stairwell going down to the bottom door. We were sitting in the room with a fireplace, and it angered one of the ghosts as I saw the words kill, leave, devil, not double, and disturb pop up one after the other, like, on their phones or something.
Mm-hmm.
My skin utterly crawled with chills. We used some apps downloaded on our cell phones, and we were able to talk to all of the ghosts. What we would do is we would ask a question, and then this app filtered through several channels, and we would hear like a yes or a no, or a name or a number. We also had downloaded EMF detectors on our phones, and in some places they were off the charts. Someone kept wanting us to go to the basement, as we would hear down, cellar, and go on the radio. I would not have gone, even if it was off limits. Thank you for this wonderful experience. I'm pretty sure she means if it wasn't off limits. But anyway, yeah, so there's a whole cellar thing, apparently.
So I do not trust phone app ghost hunting devices.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That 100% makes sense.
But creepy nonetheless.
Creepy experience that somebody had. Good to share.
I think you and I need to save up for a road trip across the southern United States.
And just stay at all the creepy places.
Yes.
Come back shell-shocked, not able to continue the podcast, be like, we're scarred for life.
No, what we would have to do is perfect our mobile podcasting arena.
We would have to only Murders in the Building it, where we just take the microphone with us in a stroller as we go along. Can you imagine that? Have you seen Only Murders in the Building?
I have not, no.
Okay, so as they're going around, sometimes when they're being mobile, the guy has a stroller that he uses for his dog, and so he puts the microphone in there, the big fluffy microphone that's supposed to like get a lot of sound and stuff. If we were like investigating here, we should totally take it in the stroller and be like as we go through the unrenovated portions,
just pushing a stroller. Though I do like the idea, definitely bringing a stuffed animal as tribute to the children. Yeah. Not a doll. Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. Stuffed animal, yes. Dolls, no.
A totally normal looking stuffed animal.
We should use one of our stuffed animals.
Zoey, because then we would need to take it back with us. And
Yes.
I don't want, no.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
I'm going to go to an Airbnb and steal a ghost.
You're like Nicolas Cage. You're like, I'm going to steal the decoration.
I'm going to steal a ghost.
I'm going to steal a ghost.
And then they'll only have 12.
And the numbers will be all off, Zoey. Damn it.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to today's episode.
To today's episode.
Yes. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, review, tell a friendo, and join our Patreon.
Yes, please join our Patreon. If you want to see Robin's notes and her blog about this episode, you can go to hauntedhospitality.wordpress.com.
I'll also put the videos on there.
And she'll link to the videos and the photos.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to send us your own spooky stories, you can send that to hauntedhospitalitypodcast@gmail.com.
If you're on the interwebs, we are too. We're on Twitter at Haunted House. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Haunted Hospitality. We hope to see you there.
Stay spooky.